What's up guys, Houndish here, and it's Tuesday, so rather predictably, that means the weekly reset for Destiny 2, and it's one of the last resets for episode Revenant. So in the next couple of weeks, if you're new around here, definitely get subscribed, as we are going to get plenty more info from Bungie initially, then of course the new content for the upcoming episode. Stay locked and loaded for all of that. In the meantime though, this week another game update drops for Destiny 2, so hopefully we'll get some patch notes. Additionally, the Bento event is now live in the game. That of course can drop some juicy rewards, so we'll touch on that, as well as vendor inventories for the week, all of the Eververse cosmetics, featured weapons for the moment, as well as our key rewards and activities for the reset. So we'll cover a bunch of that stuff in the video, guys. If you enjoy this one, a rating below really does help us on the channel. But now, without further delay, let's get into it. And we should mention first and foremost that we're in the final 2 weeks of episode Revenant, so if you want to get anything wrapped up before the next episode starts on the 4th of February, now's the time to do it. As far as we know, the episode content will stick around for the remainder of the year, so probably at least up until June of 2025, but the clock is ticking with only 2 weeks remaining on this episode, so keep that in mind. Next up, we do have some patch notes for the update that we've had in the game today. Largely, this patch contains a bunch of fixes. So for Tomb and Contest of Elders, Bungie say they fixed an issue where the servitor would sometimes flicker while judging the players. On top of that, for Kel's Vengeance, they fixed an issue where only one player would receive progress towards Slayer's Fang exotic catalysts when destroying illusionary anchors, so that's a useful one. Also an issue where the Slayer's Fang Catalyst quests would not properly progress when defeating combatants, so a couple of useful ones on that front. For Vesper's Host though, they fixed an issue in the Master difficulty where champions could get stuck outside of the lockdown room and not teleport in. On top of that, for Triumphs and Titles, they've reduced the required number of Revenant Barons and defenses required for the Baron Ground and Defender of Innocent Triumphs respectively, so that's helpful. They also fixed an issue where the Skorgan Melodies Triumph sometimes didn't track played melodies, and one where the number of seasonal challenges required for the Reborn Triumph was higher than intended. On top of that, there are a couple of additional minor fixes in the patch notes, but those will be the most important ones for most players. Otherwise, I'll link the notes down below. In a moment, we'll talk about the packed lunch objective. This is for the Bento event that's going to be taking place this week, but next, let's take a look at the Eververse store, and as always, we will focus on Bright Dust items. So for the front page, we have Wanderer's Wagon, exotic sparrow right here, which is available for 2,500 Bright Dust this week. On top of that, there is the Bug Catching exotic emote, which is 3,250 Bright Dust, so we'll have a quick preview of that one. Additionally, we have the Inflorescence Transman effect, which is up for 450 Bright Dust. We'll preview that one again, as it did get cut off. Additionally, for front page shaders, we've got Coleoptera, struggled to say that one, which is up for 300 Bright Dust, quite an interesting one. And additionally on the front page, there is Growing Guilt. Man, I can't read today, apparently. That one will also be 300 Bright Dust. But moving over to the main Bright Dust section, we've got the Disciples Judgment exotic emote for 3,250 Bright Dust this week, which is a pretty cool Rulk-themed one. We finally loaded into the tower, so I do apologise for that. Otherwise though, on the main Bright Dust section, we also have the Robot Dance legendary emote up for grabs this week from back in the Black Armory. That one is 700 Bright Dust, and then the Firebreak Shell exotic ghost, which is up for 2,850 Bright Dust. A few new things for this episode though, here with the Daito White Rabbit exotic ship up first, which is 2,000 Bright Dust this week. And additionally, there is the Dread Rover exotic sparrow as well, so we'll have a quick preview of that one. Very curious looking technology there for 2,500 Bright Dust. There is also the Occupational Hazard ornament for the Icebreaker, which was released this episode, of course. Up until now, it has been silver only, but we can get it for 1,250 Bright Dust this week, which is a pretty cool looking one. Let us know your thoughts, whether you prefer the OG look or this one, if of course you're lucky enough to have Icebreaker. Then we have the Toe Beans projection for 1,500 Bright Dust this week as well. But for the second page of shaders, we have Royal Welcome up first. Once again, all of these are 300 Bright Dust. There's also Circadian Chill up for grabs this week. Additionally though, we've got Neopop Wave, which has come up plenty of times in the store. Very finally though, there is Butterbark available this week as well, so let us know if you plan to grab those. But finally, we have the Fallen Arrival Transman effect. All of these are 450 Bright Dust. Additionally this week, there is the Reef Oracle available in the store. And very finally, we have the Swirling Leaf Entrance Transmat effect as well. So let us know if you plan to grab any of those. Now though, as we get down to the Drifter for the start of the Bento token event, which drops a quest called Packed Lunch. Initially right here, we can see that does reward the Chatterwhite shader, ultimately. Interestingly though, it does say additional Pastis prologue quests will unlock next week, or can be obtained from Xur this weekend. So looks like Xur will play some kind of a part in this. On top of that, there is a tab here for the limited time event, where we can pick up more of the quests. So on the most part, really, we complete a quest, we get a token, and then we can head over to Eris, as far as I understand it, where we'll be able to collect the rewards. So that's kind of the initial breakdown right there, but I'll keep you guys posted if there's anything of importance worth keeping in mind. Since we're already in the annex though, we may as well give Shader 1 a quick visit before Banshee this time around. We've got a mixture of different armor pieces, so you can check in for those if any appear to be of interest. But for the shaders, we have Genotype Null 0 from back in Warmind. These are all 10,000 Glimmer. Additionally, Mad Monk is up for grabs this week from the same period of time. And finally, we've got Dead Orbit's Fate as well, if you're after any older faction shaders. All the players in the game at the moment have gone to visit the Drifter instead of Saladin, so he's looking a bit lonely here in the tower. I'm sure things will pick up as the week goes on. Let's take a look at Banshee's weapons for the moment, very briefly though. We've got the Typhon GL5, Genesis 1 for all. There's also Battle Scar, which has got Shot Swap and Eye of the Storm, and then Imperative with well-rounded Adrenaline Junkie, Ragnhild D with Steady Hands and Demolitionist, and finally Enyo D, which has got Feeding Frenzy and Surrounded, which might be alright, but keep in mind the weapons and rolls will change through the week. Some final things to round up here, and the Nightfall this week should be Liminality with the Slammer as the featured reward. So if you need to pick up a good Slammer, the Adept variant, or just the standard stuff, that'll be the one to go after this week. For the exotic mission though, we have Starcrossed from back in Season of the Wish. That of course dropped a year ago at this point, so if you're still missing any upgrades and you want to get them done, this will be a good week to head into it. Otherwise, for featured raids, we have the Vault of Glass, which houses a lot of pretty juicy legendary rewards, but also the Vex Mythoclast exotic, and all of that is farmable when the raids are featured. So that's the first one. We additionally have Crota's End, where again the legendary loot pool can be farmed, plus it's a good week to make progress on Necrochasm quest if you still have it. Otherwise, Grasp of Avarice is one of the featured dungeons, and the other one is Warlord's Ruin, where we can get the Buried Bloodline exotic sidearms. So all of that stuff totally farmable with no loot lockouts this week. And very finally, for any folks who are working on stashing up some exotic engrams for episode Heresy, the daily lost sectors of course can be useful for that, as they have chances to drop exotic engrams on solo clears. So today, we've got the Quarry in the EDZ, then on January 22nd it'll be Excavation Site, but for the 23rd we go back to the Pale Heart with the Broken Deep. January 24th is Blooming Deep, and the Forgotten Deep will be on the 25th. But lastly, for Savathun's Throne World, we have Extraction featured for the 26th of January, and Sepulchre featured for 27th of January. For today though guys, that is everything that we have to round up in this video. So as always, I hope you found it useful, and if you have, a rating down below really does help us out. Also be sure to get subscribed to the channel, and I can keep you up to date with everything related to the game. But otherwise, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.